and welcome to The Hindu. I'm Priyali Prakash and you're watching Tipping Point, a weekly series where we dive into climate change events and the trends shaping our future. India has committed to reach the net zero emissions target by 2070. In today's episode, we'll look at what net zero means. Think of the atmosphere like a laundry basket. If you keep adding dirty laundry into it without clearing it out, the basket will eventually overflow. Greenhouse gases released into the air work the same way. If we keep adding these gases into our atmosphere without removing them, it will eventually become so dirty that the planet will be in trouble. This is what we are seeing today. Because there's too much carbon dioxide and methane and other greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, we have global warming and climate change. A particular system, like the atmosphere, but also a factory or a business or an industry or even a whole country can become net zero when it's adding and removing an equal level of greenhouse gases from the environment. Net zero is an important goal in the world's fight against climate change because it's a practical way to bring global warming under control. Even if we had to be very optimistic about climate change, there's no way we can live on this planet without emitting any greenhouse gases. They're a part of our existence. What we can do is to reduce their quantity and achieve net zero. Of course, net zero is a goal, not the goal. We need to do many different kinds of things to really get rid of climate change or to make it manageable. Net zero is one of them. Maybe the most important goal is to minimize emissions from human activities as much as possible. Nature has its own ways of removing emissions to some extent. For example, mature biomass like old trees and plants can trap and hold some carbon. So one of our goals is to protect these natural mechanisms as well, which we can do by preserving existing forests and their ecosystems instead of destroying or degrading them. All these goals are designed to keep the Earth's surface from warming more than 1.5 or 2 degrees Celsius from the pre-industrial period. This is what most of the world's countries had decided in 2015 under the Paris Agreement. For more information on this, watch the previous episode of our show. This week's extreme weather event of note is Typhoon Yagi. It hit northern Vietnam on Sunday. According to local reports, Yagi is one of the most powerful typhoons to have hit the region in a decade. A bridge collapsed and a bus was swept away. More than 3 million people were left without electricity. Thousands of hectares of agricultural land were destroyed, and at least 14 people were killed and around 200 were injured. The link between global warming and the increasing intensity of storms, hurricanes, and cyclones is an active area of research. But we already know that warmer air can hold more moisture. Scientists also know that global warming is causing winds to blow faster. All these effects come together to create bigger and more intense storms, which cause a lot of damage. Your source of climate hope for the week is a British band called Massive Attack. Massive Attack recently held a concert in Bristol called Act 1.5 event. The 1.5 was obviously a reference to Paris Agreement's 1.5 degrees target. About 34,000 people turned up to watch them play. The entire show was powered by solar and wind power. The food at the event was vegan. A railway booking service called Train Hugger teamed up with the band so that a part of the money collected on each ticket would be used to help the UK's natural resources. The band also worked together with the Great Western Railway to run 5 special trains after the concert. Zenobi, a UK-based battery solutions company, provided free e-bus transfers for the people to commute from the venue to the train station. The idea of the whole event was to make it the lowest carbon show of the size ever staged. Many of these ideas for the Act 1.5 came from a report that the Tyndall Centre for Climate Change Research had published in 2021. According to the Tyndall report, audience travel accounts for the largest proportion of emissions in live music events. The report suggested that bands could work with local authorities to make sure people would choose public transport and people could be rewarded for making such choices. Thank you for watching. For more videos like this, please subscribe to The Hindu.